from Canto 3, Chapter 25, verses 16 to 30. So, Madhan Prabhuji, whenever you're ready, can you please start with invocation 3 times? Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Ahamamabhimanotthaiः कामलोभाधिभिर्मलैः वीतं यदा मनः शुद्धम् अदुःखमसुखं समम्.
Hare Krishna. Translation. When one is completely cleansed of the impurities of lust and greed produced from the false identification of the body as I, and bodily possessions as mine, one's mind becomes purified. In that pure state, he transcends the stage of so-called material happiness and distress.
Tada purusha atmanam kevalam prakriti param nirantaram swayam jyotir animanam akhanditam.
At that time, the soul can see himself to be transcendental to material existence, and always self-effulgent, never fragmented, although very minute in size.
Jnana-vairagya-yuktena bhakti-yuktena chātmana paripashyatyudasinam prakritim cha hataujasam.
In that position of self-realization, by practice of knowledge and renunciation in devotional service, one sees everything in the right perspective. He becomes indifferent to material existence, and the material influence acts less powerfully upon him.
Na yujyamanaya bhaktya bhagavatyakhīlātmani sadrishosti shiva pantha yoginam brahma siddhaye.
Perfection in self-realization cannot be attained by any kind of yogi unless he engages in devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for that is the only auspicious path.
Prasangamajaram pāsham atmana kavayo viduhu sa eva sadhushu krito mokshadvaram apavritam.
Every learned man knows very well that the attachment for the material is the greatest entanglement of the spirit soul, but that same attachment, when applied to the self-realized devotees, opens the door of liberation.
Titikshava karunikaha suhrita sarvadehinam ajata shatrava shanta sadhava sadhu bhushana.
The symptoms of a sadhu are that he is tolerant, merciful, and friendly to all living entities. He has no enemies, he is peaceful, and he abides by the scriptures, and all his characteristics are sublime.
Mayyananyena bhavena bhaktim kurvanti ye dridham matkrite tyakta karmanaha tyakta svajana bandhava.
Such a sadhu engages in staunch devotional service to the Lord without deviation. For the sake of the Lord, he renounces all other connections, such as family relationships and friendly acquaintances within the world.
मदाशया कथामृष्टा शृण्वन्ति कथयन्ति च तपन्ति विविधास्तापा नैतान् मद्भक्तचेतसः.
Engaged constantly in chanting and hearing about me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the sadhus do not suffer from material miseries because they are always filled with thoughts of my pastimes and activities.
त एते साधव साध्वी सर्वसङ्गविवर्जिताः सङ्गस्तेष्वतते प्रार्थः सङ्गदोषहराहिते.
O my mother, O virtuous lady, these are the qualities of great devotees who are free from all attachment. You must seek attachment to such holy men, for this counteracts the pernicious effects of material attachment.
सतां प्रसङ्गान् मम वीतसंविदो भवन्ति हत्कर्णरसायना कथा तज्जोषणादाश्वपवर्गवर्त्मनि श्रद्धारथेर्भक्तिरनुक्रमिष्यति.
In the association of pure devotees, discussion of the pastimes and activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very pleasing and satisfying to the ear and the heart. By cultivating such knowledge, one gradually becomes advanced on the path of liberation, and thereafter he is freed, and his attraction becomes fixed. Then real devotion and devotional service begin.
भक्त्या पुमान् जातविरागेन्द्रियात् दृष्टश्रुतान् मद्रचनानुचिन्तया चित्तस्य यत्तो ग्रहणे योगयुक्तो यतिष्यते रजुभिर्योगमार्गैः.
Thus consciously engaged in devotional service in the association of devotees, a person gains distaste for sense gratification, both in this world and in the next, by constantly thinking about the activities of the Lord. This process of Krishna consciousness is the easiest process of mystic power. When one is actually situated on that path of devotional service, he is able to control the mind.
अस्यैवयायं प्रकृतिर्गुणानां ज्ञानेन वैराग्यविचम्बितेन योगेन मय्यर्पितया च भक्त्या मां प्रत्यगात्मानमिहावरुन्धे.
Thus, by not engaging in the service of the modes of material nature, but by developing Krishna consciousness, knowledge and renunciation, and by practicing yoga, in which the mind is always fixed in devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one achieves my association in this very life, for I am the Supreme Personality, the Absolute Truth.
देवहुतिरुवाच काचिद्वयुज्यिता भक्तिः कीदृशी मम गोचरा यया पदं ते निर्वाणम् अजन्सान्वाञ्जवा अहम्.
On hearing this statement of the Lord, Devahuti inquired, "What kind of devotional service is worth developing and practicing to help me easily and immediately attain the service of your lotus feet?"
यो योगो भगवद्वानो निर्वाणात्मं स्वयोदितः कीदृश कतिचाङ्गानि यतस्तत्त्वावबोधनम्.
The mystic yoga system, as you have explained, aims at the Supreme Personality of Godhead and is meant for completely ending material existence. Please let me know the nature of that yoga system. How many ways are there by which one can understand in truth that sublime yoga?
तदेतन्मे विजानीहि यथाहं मन्दधीर्हरे सुखं बुद्ध्येय दुर्बोधं येषा भवदनुग्रहात्.
My dear son Kapila, after all, I am a woman. It is very difficult for me to understand the absolute truth because my intelligence is not very great. But if you will kindly explain it to me, even though I am not very intelligent, I can understand it and thereby feel transcendental happiness.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.
Thank
Hare
you,
Krishna.
Madhan Prabhuji and Orpitha, for the very nice recitation. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji and Mataji. So beautiful. Okay, so thank you so much, dear devotees, for kindly joining this evening to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, and also giving this opportunity to speak few words on Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, so before we enter into Srimad Bhagavatam, we shall offer Mangalacharan prayers. Oh. अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांशं श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांशम्। हे कृष्ण करुणसिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तु ते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिविकासस्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। शृणुतां सकटाः कृष्णः पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनः हृद्यन्तस्त्वह्य भद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृसतां। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवति उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। एते चांशकलाः पुंसः कृष्णस्तु भगवान् स्वयम् इन्द्रादिव्याकुलं लोकं रुडयन्ति युगे युगे इदं भागवतं नाम पुराणं ब्रह्मसंहितम् उत्तमश्लोकचरितं चकार भगवान् ऋषिः निःश्रेयसाय लोकधन्यं स्वस्यै नमः कृष्णे सुदामोपगते धर्मज्ञानादिभिः सह खलु न शुश्रामेषा पुराणार्कोऽधिनोदितः कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः नमः पङ्कजनाभाय नमः पङ्कजमालिने नमः पङ्कजनेत्राय नमस्ते पङ्कजाङ्ग्रये अति विश्वेश विश्वात्मन विश्वमूर्ते स्वकेशु मे स्नेहपाशम् इमं चिन्तिदृढं पाण्डुषु विष्णुषु त्वयि मेनन्यविषया मतिर्मदपति असकृत् रतिमुद्वाह तदध गङ्गे वघुमुदन्वति श्रीकृष्ण कृष्ण सख विष्णु शुभावनिधृग राजन्यवंशदहनानपवर्गवीर्य गोविन्द गोद्विजसुरात्यहरावतार योगेश्वर अखिल गुरो भगवन् नमस्ते योगेश्वर अखिल गुरो भगवन् नमस्ते योगेश्वर अखिल गुरो भगवन् नमस्ते तुलयामलवेनापि न स्वर्गं न पुनर्भवं भगवत्सङ्गसङ्गस्य मच्चानं किमुत शशः पुनश्च भूयाद् भगवत्यनन्ते रतिः प्रसङ्गाश तदाश्रयेषु महस्त्वयाम्यामुप्यामि सृष्टिं मैत्रस्य सर्वत्र नमो द्विजेभ्यः नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यमीश्वरं श्रीचैतन्यप्रभुं वन्दे बालोऽपि यदनुग्रहात् तरे नानामतग्राह व्याप्तं सिद्धान्तसागरं श्रीचैतन्यप्रभुं वन्दे यत्पादाश्रियवीरितः सङ्गृह्णाति आकर्वातात् अज्ञः सिद्धान्तसन्मनीम् ॐ नमो भगवते राधा गोविन्दाय नमः हरे कृष्ण Thank you so much for kindly waiting. I shall share my screen. Yes, so Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, Srimad Bhagavatam, it is the most essential and important chapter of third canto. This is Bhakti Yoga, the glories of Bhakti Yoga. Okay, so this Bhakti Yoga is describing by Kapila Bhagavan to Devahuti Mata. So Devahuti Mata inquired because she was disturbed by the senses. And then she came to Kapila Bhagavan and asking to enlighten her so that she would be free from the disturbance of the senses. Okay, so after saying that, Kapil Bhagavan was very pleased with Devahuti Mata. So he was responding in speaking about the Bhakti Yoga. And this Bhakti Yoga, it is already existing. So, and then I'm speaking to you, my dear mother, which is so beautiful. And for hearers, and also it is so beautiful for all the great sages, all the devotees, even the non-devotees, it is so beautiful. It contains Yogam Sarvanga Naipunam. In all dimensions, it is perfect. This is Yogam Sarvanga Naipunam. So here, Kapil Bhagavan is describing. So what is that one? Yoga Adhyatmika Pumsam Mato Nishresaya me Atyanta Upratiyatra Dukkasya cha Sukasya cha. So one has to come out from the pains and pleasures of this material world. That is Atyanta Upratihi. That is the most essential. So likewise, Kapil Bhagavan starts speaking about, and then he says, Tamimam te pravakshami yam avocham puranaghe. I am going to speak, my dear mother. Tamimam te pravakshami yam avocham puranaghe. It was previously also spoken. Rishinam shrotu kamanam yogam sarvanganaipunam. And he gives how this living entity entrapped in this material world. Chetah kalvasya bhandaya muktaye cha atmano matam gune saptam bhandaya ratam vapumsi muktaye. So he comes Chetah kalvasya bhandaya muktaye cha atmano matam. When he is entangled by three material modes of nature, it is called bhanda. Okay, so the main thing is one has to come out from that entanglement or three material modes of nature. Okay, that is mukti. That's as simple as that. And then how it comes like Aham mama abhiman vuttaihi kamalobhadivihi malaihi vitam yada manushuddham adukkam asukum samam. So one has to leave aham mama abhiman vuttaihi. Abhimana is self-respect. This is me. I am self-respected. I am most self-respected person. Self-respected person. Everyone has to respect me. I am so beautiful. I am knowledgeable. I am very rich in so many ways. This is aham mama abhimana. And one has to elevate vuttaihi kamalobhadivihi malaihi. And also this uh, kama, lobha, adibihi. This is lust, greed, and many other things, anger, and all those things. Vitam yada manaha shuddham adukkam asukam samam. Someone has to completely free from this kind of conceptions of material ingredient or material designations. And then he starts speaking about the living entity. So what is living entity? It is always Nirantram Swayam Jyotihi. So generally people, they think that if we die it and there it ends, the mat, everything ends, all our business ends. But actually the soul is completely consciousness. Even though after leaving the body, it is always having a consciousness. It has got different activities further. So he says that Purusha Atmanam Kevalam Prakrutehe Param. Kapila Bhagavan says, Tada Purusha Atmanam Kevalam Prakrutehe Param. This living entity, the soul, it belongs to the superior nature. And it is Nirantram Swayam Jyotihi. It always Swayam Jyotihi. It is a self-illumination, self-illuminated. Animanam, but it is very small. Animanam Akanditam. Akanditam without any cessation. It is always self-effulgent, but it is minute. So here living entity is minute, whereas the Supreme Lord is Vibhu, is all-powerful, omniscient, all-powerful, all-opulent. And one would be completely, when he is situated, when he is self-realized in that way, when he is wherever he is situated, either in this material world, wherever he is. So by knowledge and detachment, knowing about his position, then the material nature does not work upon him. Jnana Vairagya Yuktena, Bhakti Yuktena Chatmana, Bhakti Yuktena, Jnana Vairagya Bhakti. Having these three limbs in the spiritual life, then Paripasthiti Udasinam, Prakritim cha Hatavojasam. And the material nature does not work upon that person, a devotee, who is progressing with a Jnana Vairagya Bhakti. Hatavojasam, the influence of material nature does not affect. And then he extends further that one, that even the great sages, there are so many yogis, they have achieved so many siddhas or mystic powers. Even for them, unless they come and engage themselves in the devotional service, so here Jnana, Vairagya, Bhakti, three. And if they have got lots of knowledge and so lots of detachment, but unless if they have engaged themselves in the devotional service onto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there is no auspicious path even though for the Brahma Siddhas. So, Naidhyamanaya Bhaktya Bhagavati Akilatmani Sadruso Asti Sivaha Panta Yoginam Brahma Siddhaye. Even though Yoginam Brahma Siddhaye. So, for them there is no Sadru Asti Sivaha Panta. So, there is no auspicious Naidhyamanaya Bhaktya Bhagavati Akilatmani Sadruso Asti Sivaha Panta Yoginam Brahma Siddhaye. So, Kapila Bhagavan establishes that unless they engage themselves in the devotional service, there is no auspicious path. So that is until the 19th shloka of 3rd canto, 25th chapter. And today, for the 28th shloka, we are going to cover 20 and 21, where Kapil Bhagavan, it is so beautiful chapter, one can immerse so many in so many angles. But here in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna already spoke in the Chatishloki Bhagavad Gita, the 10th chapter, Bhagavad Gita 10th chapter. There are 4 shlokas, 8, 10th chapter 8, 9, 10, and 11. So those are the 4 shlokas. So there Krishna also speaks about Machita Madgata Pranam Bodhayanta Parasparam Katayanta Shamam Nityam Tushyanti Cha Ramanti Cha. So the devotees, they come together and speak about Krishna, and then they feel they derive so much of transcendental pleasure. tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Okay, so here Kapila Bhagavan is speaking that kind of devotees association. And what happens when devotees come together and engage themselves in discussing transcendental topics of the Lord? Okay, that is this shloka. Prasangam ajaram pasham atmanah kavayo viduhu saiva sadhushu kruto mokshadvaram apavrutam. Prasangam ajaram pasham atmanah kavayo viduhu. Prasangam is attachment, ajaram pasham. It will make the entanglement within this material world. At the end of his leaving his body, he does not go back to the spiritual planets. Again, he has to take birth again in the other material bodies because he has not practiced the devotional service yet. This is prasangam ajharam pasham. It is entanglement. But atmanaha kavyo viduhu. But this souls, atmanaha of the soul, kavayaha learned men viduhu. The learned men know about this atma. So what they will do? In order to free themselves, Sayeva sadhushu kuruto. They will make association with devotees, sadhus. Sayeva sadhushu kuruto. Then what happens? Mokshadvaram apavrutam. For them, the doors of liberation are opened. Mokshadvaram apavrutam. Apavrutam is open. Likewise, Kapil Bhagavan is saying, प्रसंगमचरं पाशम् आत्मनः कवयो विदुः स एव साधुषु कृतो मोक्षद्वारम् अपावृतम्. So translation. Every learned man knows very well that attachment for the material is the greatest entanglement of the spirit soul. But that same attachment, when applied to the self-realized devotees, open the doors of liberation. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, can I request any volunteer devotee to read one first paragraph and another devotee, another paragraph, another third devotee, third paragraph. Any volunteers, please?
Hare Krishna, may I?
Yes, Mataji, please.
Hare Krishna. Here it is clearly stated that attachment for one thing is the cause of bondage in conditioned life, and the same attachment, when applied to something else, opens the door of liberation. Attachment cannot be killed. It has simply to be transferred. Attachment for material things is called material consciousness, and attachment for Krishna or his devotees is called Krishna consciousness. Consciousness is therefore the platform of attachment. It is clearly stated here that when we simply purify the consciousness from material consciousness to Krishna consciousness, we attain liberation. Despite the statement that one should give up attachment, desirelessness is not possible for a living entity. A living entity, by constitution, has the propensity to be attached to something. We see that if someone has no object of attachment, if he has no children, then he transfers his attachment to cats and dogs. This indicates that the propensity for attachment cannot be stopped. It must be utilized for the best purpose. Our attachment for material things perpetuates our conditional state, but the same attachment, when transferred to the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his devotee, is the source of liberation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Can I request other devotee, please?
May
Hare
I,
Krishna.
Prabhuji? No.
Sorry, Usha Mataji, go ahead.
Sorry, go on.
Mataji, you go ahead. I'll do the next one.
Here is recommended that attachment should be transferred to the self-realized devotee, the sadhus. And who is a sadhu? A sadhu is not just an ordinary man with a saffron robe or long beard. A sadhu is described in Bhagavad Gita as one who unflinchingly engaged in devotional service, even though one is found not to be following the strict rules and regulations of devotional service. If one simply has unflinching faith in Krishna, the Supreme Person, he is understood to be a sadhu. Sadhu eva sa manavatavya. A sadhu is a strict follower of devotional service. It is recommended here that if one at all wants to realize Brahman or spiritual perfection, his attachment should be transferred to the sadhu, a devotee. Lord Chaitanya also confirmed this. Lava matra sadhu sangha sarva siddhi haya. Simply by a moment's association with a sadhu, one can attain perfection.
Thank you, Mataji. Prabhuji.
Mahatma is a synonym of sadhu. It is said that service to a Mahatma or elevated devotee of the Lord is Dwaram Ahur Vimuktehe, the royal road of liberation. Mahat Sevan Dwaram Ahur Vimukte Hamo. Just trying to get this, sorry. Tamo Dwaram Yogitam Sanki Sangamam. Bhagavad Gita 5.5.2. Sorry, that's Bhagavatam. Rendering service to the materialist has the opposite effect. If anyone offers service to a gross materialist or a person engaged only in sense enjoyment, then by association with such a person, the door to hell is opened. The same principle is confirmed here. Attachment to a devotee is attachment to the service of the Lord, because if one associates with a sadhu, the result will be that the sadhu will teach him how to become a devotee, a worshipper, and a sincere servitor of the Lord. These are the gifts of a sadhu. If we want to associate with a sadhu, we cannot expect him to give us instructions on how to improve our material condition, but he will give us instructions on how to cut the knot of the contamination of material attraction and how to elevate ourselves in devotional service. This is the result of associating with a sadhu. Kapila Muni first of all instructs that the path of liberation begins with such association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. And thank you all, Mataji. Okay, so here Srila Prabhupada is describing. So here it is clearly stated, attachment for one thing is cause of bondage in the conditioned life, and the same attachment when applied to something else opens the door of liberation. So in the beginning also here, Kapila Bhagavan is describing to Devahuti Mata. Devahuti Mata initially also, she was also mentioning Sango iha samditer hetuhu asatsu vihito adeya sayevo sadhushu kruto nisangatvaya kalpate. She was lamenting before whenever Kadama Prajapati was leaving to the forest. At that time she was mentioning with the self-realization. So I have always been in the sense gratification. So she was mentioning, I all the time I have been in the sense gratification. I just ignored the self-realization, trying to understand the about the devotional service. And then she also mentions prasangastvai me kritaha. So indriyardha prasange indriyardheshu, even though for sense gratification purposes also indriyardheshu, even prasangatvai me kritaha, oh my dear husband, even though for sense gratification I have attached to yourself. Then she mentions the reasons. So tatapyastu abhyayami ajanantya param bhavam tatapyastu abhyayami, even though unknowingly association with the devotees, then tat abhyayami, so the fearlessness would happen. What is the fearlessness? Is like a one, whenever he surrenders himself to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, at that time only he will be completely free from the fearlessness. So there she mentions Indriyadhyesu sadhyancha prasangastvai me kritaha ajanantya param bhavam tatapyastu abhyayami. That fearlessness would happen when you associate with the sadhus. So and then she sangoyah samsari hetuhu asutsu vihito adhiya sa eva sadhushu kruto nisangatvaya kalpate. Even though if you associate with the materialistic people perfectly, they are following all the principles, but except the devotion. So there she mentions So there it is no use. So, but Sayevo Sadhu Shukruto Nisangatvai Kalpate, when there is a association with the devotees, Nisangatvai, no more material attachment. So one can feel that she mentions that one, she puts herself in that condition. Later on, she comes to Kapila Bhagavan and says that Nirvidna Nitram Bhoman Asad Indriya Tarshanad Yena Sambhavamanena Prapannandam Tamahaprabho. Now I am being disturbed by the senses. Please help me to come out from this sense agitations like that. This is again, whenever this attachment is applied to the devotees, then they open the door of liberation. So devotees, they will always cut the knot to this metal wall. Attachment. So attachment cannot be killed. It has simply to be transferred. And attachment for material things is called material consciousness, and attachment for Krishna or his devotee is called Krishna consciousness. It is so beautiful. And consciousness is therefore the platform of attachment. So this is how we can perceive. For example, here in India, once upon a time, we used to live in so many huts, and in and around us, the premises like chicken and goats and cows and so many birds and so many of the plants, flowers and fruits, so many. This is life. In and around us, complete life. It is not bricks and stones. Here, once we come into the home, there is no life at all, just only the walls, bricks and stones. Unless we go outside into the garden, we can see some plants. But there, we always, every moment we associate. For example, if we assume there is no plant and no animal being, no living entity, we are between the stones, and then how our life would be if there is no one to reciprocate our love and feelings. So that state cannot stay for long. So here, consciousness is therefore a platform of attachment. So it is clearly stated here, and we need to associate and exchange the love with ourselves and other living entities. If we have our beloved ones like wife and children and father and mother, grandfather, and then friends, family, it is so beautiful and happy. That is called attachment between the consciousness living entities. And if we do not have these things, then even the dogs and cows, there also we can make attachment. So so here Prabhupada says that attachment for material things is called material consciousness, and attachment cannot be killed. It has simply to be transferred. So here in Krishna consciousness, we always see living entity. So, and then exchange the love. Again, Kapila Bhagavan later on, he also says, Manasaitani bhutani pranamed bahumanayan Ishwaro jiva kalaya pravishto bhagavaniti. So he says in the 29th chapter, again, there is again devotional service come, how it needs to be executed further. Like the temple service, temple worship, like that. So there he mentions that one. Lord is in the heart of all the living entities, starting from Andantarastam, Paramanu, Chayantarastam. He is everywhere, all pervading. But here, even though he is all pervading, all living entities are situated within the Lord He Himself. Okay, so and then further, it is clearly stated here that when we simply purify the consciousness from material consciousness to the Krishna consciousness, we attain liberation. This is called Vasudeva Sthiti. This is वासुदेव सिद्धि सत्वं शुद्धं वसुदेव सिद्धितं यदेते तत्र पुमान् अपावृतः सत्त्वे च तस्मिन् भगवान् वासुदेवो यदोक्षयो मे मनसा विधीयते यदोक्षयो मे नमसा विधीयते. Lord Shiva says to Sati Devi. So this is Vasudeva Siddhi. Chittam tad Vasudevakyam Chittam tad Mahadatmakam, which is the consciousness of this Mahatattva. It is like a Chittam. We are here as a person. Now I am consciousness. So because consciousness is there, I am able to do it, do move and do so many other things. Likewise, when our consciousness is the heart of Mahatattva, the entire cosmic manifestation, that is Vasudevasti. And it is also described like Yatapam Prakriti Para. Yatapam, just like whenever rain falls, whenever it touches the ground, it becomes a dirt. dirty water. But before that, it was pure. Yatapam prakriti para. Before it touches the nature, it was pure. Similarly, the consciousness, before it come into the contact with the material nature, it was pure. That pure consciousness is called Vasudeva. In that particular state, Lord Shiva says that I can see the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vasudeva City. That is called Vasudeva City. And despite that statement that one should give up attachment, desirelessness is not possible for a living entity. So to give up attachment, it is not possible. But simply one can change that attachment to different higher things. This is Vishya Vinivattante Niraharasya Dehinaha Rasavajyam Rasopasya Param Društva Nivattate. So if we attach to the material things, then we are always in the material consciousness. But if we give the higher taste, param društva nivattate, then he would give up all the lesser taste attachments, okay, all materialist things. And a living entity by constitution has the propensity to be attached to something. He has to attach to something. So we see that if someone has no object of attachment, if he has no children, then he transfers his attachment to cats and dogs. This indicates that propensity for attachment cannot be stopped. So it must be utilized for the best purpose. Okay, this is the very beautiful point. It must be utilized for the best purpose, not for cats and dogs. Even sometimes in our lives, we see that some people are taking reincarnation, rebirth, and some people die and they become a ghost. So because the consciousness is still there. But here, a learned person who has equipped with all the transcendent knowledge, he knows to go back to the Godhead. So he will be entering into the Vaikuntha planets. If he is a devotee of the Lord, if he has got that mood and relationship with the Lord. So, and our attachment for material things perpetuates our conditional state. So, but the same attachment, when transferred to the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his devotees, is a source of liberation. So again, Krishna says, Kamaistai sarvajnanaha prapadhyantanya devataha tam tam nimamastaya prukritya nita swaya swaya. He will be conditioned. When he was attached to the material things. That is limited. Okay, and so here, if that kind of attachment attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his devotee is the source of liberation. How? Because they will be purifying the consciousness. We have got so many duality in this material world, but the time when it comes to the time factor, it is only one. It is Prabhavam Purusham Kalam Yeki Eto Bhayam. That kalam, because it is ticking. I do not have a material time or spiritual time. It is only one time. We have got 24 hours. We need to spend this 24 either in the spiritual or in the material. There is only one option. We do not have two options. So, so one has to engage all this time with the devotees. Then what happens? The association with the material things and non-devotees would automatically stop, and then source of liberation is opened. And here it is further recommended that attachment should be transferred to the self-realized souls, sadhus, because sanghateshu asate prajyaha, one has to pray. Sanghateshu asate prajyaha, oh my dear Lord, please give me the devotees association. Here Parikshit Maharaj, he was also Punasha Bhuyat Bhagavad Janante Ratihe Prasangasha Tadashriyeshu Mahastu Yamyam Upyam Srishti Maitrastu Sarvatra Namo Vijebhyaha. Oh my dear Lord, so in case if there is another bug comes, I do not worry about it. But please give me the devotees association. So in such a way, he speaks this shloka among all the sages assembled during the Parikshit Maharaj Prayopavation. He is prepared himself to leave this material world. He says that Punasya Bhuyat Bhagavat Janante Ratihi Prasangashu Tadashriyeshu Mahastu Yamyam Upyami Srishtim Maitrastu Sarvatra Namo Dvijebhyaha. You give the equal vision towards all the living entities. Maitrastu Sarvatra Namo Dvijebhyaha. So that is sadhu is like that. And sadhu, he does not have any attachment. So he is taeva sadhavah tadvi sarva sangha vivajjitaha, because he is sadhu, they do not have attachment to this material world. Sarva sangha vivajjitaha. Then sanghateshu adite prajyaha. When you associate with the sadhus, what happens? Sangha dosha harahite. And sangha doshas, when we go to the outside, there are so many sangha doshas happens. Some non-devotees or materialistic people, materialistic job. This is karmic people will come in contact and they somewhere inject into our brain something nonsense. But when we associate with the devotees, sadhu, sangha dosha harahite, that will be eradicated out. It will be nullified. That is the benefit. And who is the sadhu here? A sadhu is not an ordinary man with saffron robe or long beard. So sadhu is described in Bhagavad Gita as one who unflinchingly engages in the devotional service. He is called sadhu. So sadharev samantavyaha samyak vyavhito hi saha. So here, when sometimes here Krishna says, apichet suduracharo bhajite mam ananya bhak. Who is doing bhajate mam ananya bhav sadhureva samantavyaha samyak vyavhito hi saha. So here Prabhupada is describing that. Who is following bhajate mam ananya bhav, with strictly, unflinchingly engages in the devotional service. And though even though one is found not to be following the strict rules and regulations of devotional service, if one simply has unflinching faith in Krishna, this is ado shraddha, the supreme person, he is understood to be a sadhu as well. Unflinching faith in Krishna, then he is understood to be a sadhu. And sadhureva samantavyaha, because sometimes he may also apichet sudhracharo, sometimes he may appear that he has fallen into the material pool. And then, but because he is engaged into the devotional service, bhajate mam ananya bhak, one has to treat him as a sadhu only. The Krishna says, because there is no other course for that person, a sadhu. Even though apichet sudhacharu, even though sudhacharu, then we need to treat him because he is engaged in the devotional service. Okay, a sadhu is a strict follower of the devotional service. So it is recommended here that if one at all wants to realize Brahman or spiritual perfection, his attachment should be transferred to the sadhus or devotee. Okay, so this is satam prasangan mama veer samvido bhavanti hrutkarna rasayana kataha tajjoshanadvaso apavarghavatmini shraddha ratihi bhakti anukramishyati. Shraddha ratihi bhakti anukramishyati. When we associate with the devotee, satam prasangan mama veer samvido. So this is mama veer samvido. And again, Kapila Bhagavan says, Yo anyonyita bhagavataha prasidhya sabhajayante mama paurushani. And the devotees, they come together and cooperate with so much of love and affections, and they discuss transcendental topics. Yo anyonyita bhagavataha prasidhya sabhajayante mama paurushani. They do bhajans, my bhajans, with so much of mama paurushani, love and affections. Yo anyonyata, with so much of cooperation. So this is the devotional service and attachment to the sadhu. Then Shraddha, Ratihi, Bhakti, Anukramishyati. One after another. Shraddha, Ratihi, attachment, Anukramishyati. Everything will come. And Lord Chaitanya is also confirmed. Lava Matra Sadhu Sange, Sarva Siddhihaya. So even this is Lava Matra Sadhu, a little bit of association. Then Sarva Siddhi, all kinds of siddhis manifest in our life. This is Tulayamalavena Pinaswargam na Punarbhavam Bhagavad Sangya Sangasya Machanam Kimutashashaha. Again, Saunakadi sages, they also describe the association of Sutta Goswami that a little bit of Tulayamalavena Pi, even a little bit of association with the sadhus, it is greater than even the liberation. Okay, that way they are also speak. Similarly, by moments of association with a sadhu, one can attain perfection. And then further it is Mahatmanastu mam pardha daivim prakriti mashritaha. Daivim prakriti mashritaha. So Radharani is our Daivi Prakriti. So Mahatmanas, they are approach Radharani, shelter of Radharani. And Radharani is a staunch devotee of Krishna. So that is, and then Radharani will take us and put ourselves into the lotus, at the lotus feet of Krishna. It is so easy. Mahatmanas tumam padda dhaivim prakritim ashritaha. And then further it is said that service to Mahatma or a elevated devotee of the Lord is Dvaram Ahuhu Vimuktehe, the royal road of liberation. So that is one has to render service. Susurosha Sardhanasya Vasudeva Kataruchihi Syan Matseva Vipraha Punyatid Nishevanat. One has to serve the spiritually elevated devotees, high the spiritual masters or gurus. So when they are approaching, then Vasudeva Kataruchihi, it is called Syan Matseva Vipraha Punyatid Nishevanat. It is called Punyatidda. And it is described here, Mahat Sevam Dwaram Ahur Vimuktehe Tamodvaram Yoshitam Sangi Sangam. If you attach with the sadhus, then the royal road of liberation. If you attach with the Tamodvaram, it is a hellish condition. Yoshitam Sangi Sangam. If you attach with the women or women monglers, then it will put us into the material condition. It is tamodvaram, hellish condition. That is Srimad Bhagavatam. Here it is Rishabhadev speaks to his children, 100 children, headed by Bharat Maharaj. Okay, so here rendering service to the materialists has the opposite effect. If anyone offers service to gross materialist or a person engaged only in sense enjoyment, then by association with such a person, the door to hell is opened. Door to hell, this is tamodvaram, yoshitam sangi sangam. So this is again, it is very difficult to not to associate with the materialistic people, but that is a bodily and physically. But however, in the consciousness, internally, when we are thinking of Krishna and chanting Hare Krishna, wherever we go, we speak about only Krishna. So that kind of relishment is going on. That is param drishtva nivartate. When so much of happiness is going in the heart, even the outside people physical attachment, that does not affect us because we are Krishna consciousness. This is param drishtva nivartate. The same principle is confirmed here. Attachment to a devotee is attachment to the service of the Lord, because if one associates with a sadhu, the result will be that sadhu will teach him how to become a devotee, a worshipper, and a sincere servitor of the Lord. Okay, then he will learn all the steps. This is a Yaswakat Paruto Veha Jat Nirved Atmavan. Vidura says to Dhritarashtra. One has to learn by his personal endeavor or learn from the other devotees. Yaswakat Paratova Iha Jat Nirved Atmavan. Either by himself or learn from the others. So, but if it is other person, if it's a sadhu or a devotee, then you will become a devotee as well. So again, there are the gifts of the sadhu are here. If we want to associate with a sadhu, we can expect him to give us instructions on how to improve our. We cannot expect him to give us instructions on how to improve our material condition, but he will give us instructions on how to cut the knot of the contamination of the material attraction. So that is what sadhu will do. How to elevate ourselves in devotional service. But here, when we have got any particular desires, that needs to be diverted to Krishna only. Desires, then all our engagements in Evam Kayena Manasa Vachisaso Manoghatam Paricharyamanu Bhagwan Bhaktimat Paricharyaya Evam Kayena Manasa Vachisacha Manoghatam. Narad Muni says to Dhruva Maharaj. Evam kayena manasa vachisacha manogatam paricharyamano bhagwan bhaktimat paricharyaya. Bhaktimat paricharyaya. With a mind of devotion, one has to render service. Okay, then this is how he engages again in the Guru Ashtakam, that third shloka. Can anyone say that third shloka in Guru Ashtakam? Can anyone say that one? in the morning.
Is it Hare Krishna Prabhuji?
Yes,
Is
madam.
it Mangalarti?
Yes,
The third shloka.
yes,
Shri Vigrahara
yes.
Dhannitanana Shingaratan Mandarmarjanadu
Yuktasya
Yuktasya Bhaktam Shaniyanstopi Bante Guru
Niyanjitopi.
Paranam Vindam.
Yes, Niyanjitopi, the spiritual master, he will engages ourselves in the devotional service. Yuktasya Bhaktam Niyanjitopi Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam. So here,
What's that mean? Could you tell me again, please? Bhaktam Shaniyanstopi?
Shri Vigraharadhana Nityanana Shrungaratan Mandaranjana
Yeah.
Yuktasya Bhaktam Shaniyam Jatopi Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam. Can
Yeah,
anyone say?
Yuktasya Bhaktam Shaniyanstopi. What's that mean, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay.
Can anyone recite that one shloka again?
I can, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji, please.
Shri Vigraharadhana Nityanana Shringaratan Mandir Marjanado Yuktastatha Bhaktams Niyunjatopi Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam. I think so, something like that.
Very beautiful. Thank you, Mataji. So the spiritual master engages ourselves into different services, and then it will the path to cut the knot of contamination, to elevate ourselves in devotional service. Okay, that is the result of associating with a sadhu. Kapila Muni, first of all, instructs that the path of liberation begins with such association. Okay, this is Prasangamajham Pasham Atmanaha Kavayo Viduhu Saeva Sadhu Shukruto Mokshadvaram Apavrutam. It is a very beautiful shloka. I request all devotees to learn this shloka and practice. Anyone would like to try here? Just devotees kindly follow if it is possible, line by line. I recite line and you also follow behind me. Prasangam Majaram Pasham
Sangamajaram Pasham
Atmanaha Kavayo Viduhu
Atmana
Kavayo
Kavayo Viduhu
Saiva Sadhu Shukruto
Saiva Sadhu Shruto
Sukrito
Mokshadvaram Apavrutam.
Mokshadvaram
Mokshadvaram
Parvatam.
Apavritam
Okay, again. Prasangamajaram Pasham
Prasangamajaram
Prasangamajaram
Pasham
Atmanah Kavayo Viduhu
Atmana Kavayo Viduhu
Saiva Sadhu Shukruto
Sadhu Sukruto
Mokshadvaram Apavrutam.
Mokshadvaram
Varam Apavritam.
Anyone would like to try?
I can have a go, Prabhu. Yes.
Please.
Param aprasangam ajaram pasam. Sorry again. Prasangam ajaram pasham atmana kavayo viduhu saiva sadushu Christo mukshadvaram aparitam.
Very beautiful. Thank you, Mataji.
I will try, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Prasangam ajuram pasam atmana kavyo vidu sa eva sadhustu krito moksha dwaram apavaritam. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Amlata Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Prasanga ajram pasham atmanah kavyo viduhu sa eva sadhusho krito mokshadvaram apavritam. Hare Krishna.
Very nice. Thank you, Mataji. Anyone else?
Yes, Prabhuji, may I try?
Yes, Mataji.
Prasangam ajaram pasham atmanah kavayo viduhu sa eva sadhushu kruto mokshadvaram apavratam. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Any other devotees? Usha Mataji,
Hare Krishna.
Raj Mataji, yes.
Prasangam ajaram pasam atmana khavayo viduhu sa eva sadhusho krito moksha dwaram apavritam.
Very beautiful. Thank you, Mataji.
Sasangam ajaram pasha ma atmanam kavayo vidu sa eva sadhu sukruto moksha dwaram pavratam.
Very nice. Thank you, Mataji. Kiti Dadulali Mataji. For any other devotee? Okay, so thank you so much. This is Prasangam Ajaram Pasham Atmanaha Kavayo Viduhu Saeva Sadhushu Krito Mokshadwaram Apavritam. Okay, this is the first one, association with the devotee. Then further, here, what are the different ornaments of the sadhu? So here, Kapila Bhagavan describes with the tolerance and compassionate and kindness and well-wishing of all other living entities. And then one should be, he should not be any envious towards any other living entities and always peaceful. Okay, so these are all different kinds of ornaments of a sadhu. It is Titikshavaha, Karunikaha, Suhridaha, Sarvadehinam, Ajata Satravaha, Santaha, Sadavaha, Sadhubhoshanaha. Titikshavaha, Karunikaha, Titikshavaha. So this is tolerant. Karunikaha is merciful. Suhridaha, friendly. Sarvadehinam, towards all living entities. Ajata Satravaha, and he does not have any enemies. Santaha, he is always peaceful. And Sadhavaha, abiding by the scriptures. And Sadhu Bhoshanaha, and adorned with sublime characteristics. So this is Trikshavaha Karunikaha, Suhridaha Sarvadehinam, Ajata Satravaha Chantaha, Sadhavaha Sadhu Bhoshanaha. So beautiful sloka. Okay, so here, translation, the symptoms of a sadhu are that he is tolerant, merciful, and friendly to all living entities, and he has no enemies. He is peaceful, he abides by the scriptures, and all his characteristics are sublime. Okay, purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. It has got 2 paragraphs. Can I request two devotees to read these paragraphs?
Prabhuji, I'll do
Prabhu?
the first one. Is that okay?
Yes, Mataji, first
A
paragraph.
sadhu, as described above, is a devotee of the Lord. His concern, therefore, is to enlighten people in devotional service to the Lord. That is his mercy. He knows that without devotional service to the Lord, human life is spoiled. A devotee travels all over the country, from door to door, preaching, be Krishna conscious, be a devotee of Lord Krishna. Don't spoil your life in simply fulfilling your animal propensities. Human life is meant for self-realization or Krishna consciousness. These are the preachings of a sadhu. He is not satisfied with his own liberation. He always thinks about others. He is the most compassionate personality towards all the fallen souls. Therefore, one of his qualifications is karunika, great mercy to the fallen souls. While engaged in preaching work, he has to meet with so many opposing elements. Therefore, the sadhu or devotee of the Lord has to be very tolerant. Someone may ill-treat him because the conditioned souls are not prepared to receive the transcendental knowledge of devotional service. They do not like it. That is their disease. The sadhu has the thankless task of impressing people, of impressing upon them the importance of devotional service. Sometimes devotees are personally attacked with violence. Lord Jesus Christ was crucified.
Can we give the opportunity next big
Yes,
paragraph?
Haribol. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Can I request that devotee?
Hare Krishna, yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhu. Lord Jesus Christ was crucified. Haridas Thakur was caned in 22 marketplaces, and Lord Chaitanya's principal assistant Nityanand was violently attacked by Jagai and Madhai. But still they were tolerant because their mission was to deliver the fallen souls. One of the qualifications of a sadhu is that he is very tolerant and is merciful to all fallen souls. He is merciful because he is the well wisher of all living entities. He is not only a well wisher of human society but a well wisher of animal society as well. It is said here, Sarvadehinam, which indicates all living entities who have accepted material bodies. Not only does the human being have a material body, but other living entities such as cats and dogs also have material bodies. The devotee of the Lord is merciful to everyone. The cats, dogs, trees, etc. He treats all living entities in such a way that they can ultimately get salvation from this material entanglement. Shivanand Sena, one of the disciples of Lord Chaitanya, gave liberation to a dog by treating the dog transcendently. There are many instances where a dog got salvation by association with a sadhu. Because a sadhu engages in higher philanthropic activities for the benediction of all living entities, yet although a sadhu is not inimical towards anyone, the world is so ungrateful that even a sadhu has many enemies. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Okay, Mataji.
Okay, Haribol. What is the difference between an enemy and a friend? It is different. It is a difference in behavior. A sadhu behaves with all conditioned souls for their ultimate relief from material entanglement. Therefore, no one can be more friendly than a sadhu in relieving the conditioned soul. A sadhu is calm and he quietly and peacefully follows the principles of scripture. A sadhu means one who follows the principles of scripture and at the same time is a devotee of the Lord. One who actually follows the principles of scripture must be a devotee of God because all the Shastras instruct us to obey the orders of the personality of Godhead. Therefore, sadhu means a follower of the scriptural injunction and a devotee of the Lord. All these characteristics are prominent in a devotee. A devotee develops all the good qualities of the demigods, whereas a non-devotee, even though academically qualified, has no actual good qualifications or good characteristics according to the standard of transcendental realization. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Okay, so here in this purport, Srila Prabhupada is describing about the qualities of a devotee. A devotee of the Lord, a sadhu or a devotee of the Lord. So he has got all good qualities. So his concern, therefore, is to enlighten people in devotional service to the Lord. So Janasya Krishna Bimpasya Deva Adharma Silasya Sudikkitasya Anugraheha Charanti Nonam Bhutani Bhavyani Janardhanasya. So there, devotees of the Lord, Vidura speaks there when he was the conversations between Vidura and Maitreya. Janasya Krishna Vimukasya Devad Adharmasya Sudikkitasya. Devotees, they're always compassionate toward the living entities who are not yet devotees of Krishna. Anugraheha Charanti Runam. In order to show mercy on those people, conditioned souls, Anugraheha Charanti Runam, they wander around the world. Charanti Runam, to give Krishna consciousness, just and knocking. So just be Krishna conscious, be a devotee of Lord Krishna. So this is devotees do, sadhus do. This is called Parivrajaka Acharya. So whenever there are the 4 stages of the sannyasi, one is Kutichaka, Bahodaka, Parivrajaka, Paramahamsa. in the Kutichaka stage, he will be depending when he is progressing in the spiritual path. First of all, he stays nearer to the home. He accepts the livelihood from home, and then be trying to be independent and progress himself, detachment, trying to practice detachment. Later on, Bahudaka, he does not depend on family. Instead, he will be accepting alms from the villages or towns like that. And then third level, he is, instead of taking freely, but he would also enlighten them. That is Parivrajaka Acharya, Parivrajaka Vritti. Kadma Prajapati says that Parivrajaka Padavim Astu Aham. I wanted this kind of position, Parirajaka position. Hridi Krutva, so in the heart, keeping the Lord in the heart and then wander in the world. Likewise, he was also asking. So here they wander, therefore, is to enlighten people in devotional service to the Lord. This is the business. So we say, Parirajaka Acharya, Ashtottara Shri Srimad, His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. This is Parivrajaka Acharya. He wandered around the world and spread Krishna consciousness. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami as well. Likewise, who are wandering, they are Parivrajakas. So that is his mercy. Anugrahayeha charanti nunam bhutani bhavyana janardhanasya. Tan soche sochanu vidhonu soche harehe katayam vimukhanaghena chinoti devo animishasto yesham ayuradavada gati smritinam. Another shloka also Vidra says, I am also worried about all this, even though I am desired to be shown mercy. Someone has to show mercy on me, but still I am lamenting for all other conditioned souls. He speaks, Tan socha sochanu vidhonu soche harehe katayam vimukhanaghena. Chinote devo animishastu yesham ayuradavada gati smritinam. How people are wasting their lives without cultivating spiritual knowledge. So likewise, Vidra also laments. And then asking about Maitreya to please speak about Krishna consciousness. So if you speak, it will be helpful to everyone else. So this is Maitreya Muni now is speaking all this Krishna Katha, the conversations between Kapila Bhagavan and Devahuti to Vidura. So here, that is his mercy. He knows that without devotional service to the Lord, human life is spoiled. A devotee travels all over the country. Anugrahe charanti nunam. And from door to door, preaching, be Krishna consciousness, be devotee of Lord Krishna. Don't spoil your life in simply fulfilling your animal propensities. Human life is meant for self-realization. So this is Manusham Durlabham Janma, or Krishna consciousness. One has to be Krishna consciousness. Okay, and there is one kirtan here, Govinda Dasa Bhajahure Man. So can anyone say the first charan of that kirtan?
Bhajar Manandanandana Abhaya Charana Vindare Durlabhaman Janama Sati Sange Darabae Bhajatindure Bhajahure Mana Shrinandana Abhaya Charana Vindure.
Very beautiful. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Thank you.
Durlabhamanava Janama
Sati Sange. Yeah.
Tarohe Bhava Sindhuri.
Sindhure.
Very beautiful. So all our acharyas, when they are singing, they extract the essence of all the scriptural injunctions and put them in a very easily kirtan's way and bhajan's way. We can sing and then we get the essence of all the Vedic injunctions. That's why we hear and sing the songs and kirtans by our spiritual masters and our acharyas, not by any movie people or singers. They do not have anything like that. Even though they may imitate it, but there is no content because their mood when they're compiling is not Krishna consciousness or bhakti. Okay, so this is the devotees business. So these are the preachings of a sadhu. He is not satisfied with his own liberation. He always thinks about others. So he is, and then he is the most compassionate personality toward all fallen souls. This is Karunikaha. And therefore, one of his qualifications is Karunika, great mercy to the fallen souls. While engaged in preaching work, he has to meet with so many opposing elements, and therefore the sadhu or devotee of the Lord has to be very tolerant. Okay, this is very, very, and our acharyas say that in case in one's life, if he come across some people or any opposing elements come across, or he is being hurt by the words or actions, but always best to be tolerant, not to react. So because when we react, automatically what happens? The angry, and then what? Krododbhava sammohaha. Can anyone say that shloka? Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter. क्रोधोद्भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहः स्मृतिविभ्रमः स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशो बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति. So because automatically when we react, automatically these things will come into sequence. Then we do not know what is right and what is not right. So our Acharya says, when we are progressing in the devotional service, be tolerant. This is tolerant. Whenever the good and bad things will come and go, Krishna says, tam titikshasva bharata matra sparshesthu kaunteya sitoshna sukha dukkadaha agamapayuno anityaha tam titikshasva bharata titikshava. You just simply tolerate. Okay, that is devotees tiraskrutaha viprabdhaha. So again, there is one shloka, whenever Shringi, the son of Shemik Rishi, he curses Parikshit Maharaj. And while it is described by Suta Goswami to Saunakal sages, so devotees of the Lord, they're all so tolerant that Tirskrutaha Vipralabdha. So there it is again. Well, let me just bring in the shloka here. Tirskrutaha Vipralabdaha Septaha Chiptaha Hada api Natya tat Pratikurvanti Tad Bhaktaha Prabhuopihi. Even there, the devotees of the Lord are so forbearing that even though they are defamed, cheated, cursed, disturbed, neglected, or even killed, they are never inclined to avenge themselves. They are never inclined to avenge themselves if it happens to him. But at the same time, if it happens to other devotees and Vishnu, he is not tolerant. He is not tolerant. There are so many of those things, like here in the Vani courts, offenses against the devotees here. So many things are Goswamis, immeasurable things are here. So one should not tolerate if there is a Vaishnava Aparadha is going on, if Vishnu Aparadha is going on, he should not tolerate. So like Hanuman, what he did, he put the fire to entire Lanka. So when there is a Vaishnava Aparadha. So likewise, but if something is happening to himself, then so he never inclined to avenge themselves. That is the quality of a sadhu. He is a devotee of the Lord, he has to be very tolerant. And our Acharya says, being tolerant is the best thing, that is the good remedy. That itself is a remedy for all kinds of problems. If you are not tolerant, then we are going to increase the intensity of the problem. Increase the intensity of the problem. Our Acharya says, if we wanted to go progress in the spiritual path, we must simply tolerate, continue. Again, in the Sikshamrita, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says one shloka. Can anyone say that one?
I can, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
I can try. Tranadapina sunichena taror iva sahishnuna amanena manadena kirtanya sadahari, something like that.
Yes, Sada Kirtaniyaha Sada Harihi.
Kirtanya is sadahari. Okay, thank you.
Yes. So that is a devotee. He is simply tolerant. And someone may ill-treat him because the conditioned souls are not prepared to receive the transcendental knowledge of the devotional service, because they're all, Krishna says, because they're engaged, pradadhiyaha karmadushodhrasayaha parodayanarpita rudrjonisham paran bhruktehi vidhunti arandhatha tan maudi daivadan bhavidvidaha. Brahma says that they are with so much of desires, keeping some kind of agitating thing in the heart, and they work towards progressing, very hard-working nature. But they wanted to achieve something, some kind of thing they keep in the heart. Prudrujo anisham. Ruja is the more the mode of passion. They keep that one in the heart, and they progress very hard. At that time they speak anything. Prudrujo anishaha. They speak even harsh words to other people. That is the nature of the conditioned soul. And Krishna says, Krishna vid navichalayet, a devotee who knows Krishna conscious person, he should not agitate them, agitate these materialistic people, because tan akrishna mandan, they do not have, they are mandhan. But Krishna vid navichalayet, a devotee should not agitate them. So let them do what they are doing. But you simply, if you are telling, and then if they are inclined to receive, then just you say a few words and Krishna conscious, otherwise do not disturb them. So, and then here, they do not like it. That is their disease. This is amayo yashabhotanam jayate na surata tadevihi amayam dravyam na punadi chikichitam. So everyone by birth itself, they are diseased. It is their disease. And the sadhu has the thankless task of impressing upon them the importance of devotional service. And so by giving devotional service means detachment from those things. And then sometimes devotees are personally attacked with the violence. So here giving examples of Jesus Christ was crucified, Haridasa was caned in 22 marketplaces, and Chaitanya's principal assistant Nityananda was violently attacked by Jagai and Madai. So these are different kinds of problems devotees faced. It is not only those things, and it will be everywhere. Even Prahalad Maharaj, he faces. Again, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami says that if you are going in a spiritual path in Krishna consciousness, so you would see thorns in your path, thorns in your path. Without that, you do not progress. So again, there are so many things. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami says those pearls from his writings, okay, from his quotes. But still, they are tolerant because their mission was to deliver the fallen souls. One of the qualifications of Sadhu is very tolerant, and he is merciful to all fallen souls. He is merciful because he is well-wisher of all living entities. He is Suhridaha Sarvadehinam. And he is not only well-wisher of human society, but well-wisher of animal society as well. He is Manasaitani Bhutani Pranamid Bahumanayan Ishwaro Jivakalaya Pravishto Bhagavaniti. He is Nirvairaha Sarvabhuteshu. Krishna is Nirvairaha Sarvabhuteshu. There is no enviousness. Arhyad Dhanamanabhyam. One has to respect. Arhyad Dhanamanabhyam. Give any respect to even the ant also, a fly also, even the insect also. We just Arhyad Dhanamanabhyam. You respect as much as possible. Okay, it has got its own life. A dog has its own life. A cat has got its own life. One should not disturb its life at any point. Even the fly in the home, it has got its own life. It may be obstacle to us, but if you do not want it, maybe we should show it a little bit slowly. But it has got its own life. It is life. Though its body is different, it is a life. It is also a child of Krishna. Mamayvamsha jivoloke jivo bhutaha sanatana. So devotee knows this. So he is so tolerant. So it is said here, Saravdehinam, which indicates that all living entities who have accepted material bodies. Not only does the human being have a material body, but other living entities such as cats and dogs also have material bodies. It's only dress is different. I may be having a good dress, maybe white dress, another maybe black dress. Dresses are different, but persons are the similar nature. They're all living entities. Okay, the devotees of the Lord is merciful to everyone. So he is Vidjhavane Sampanni. Can anyone say that shloka, Vidjhavane Sampanni? Any devotees? Vidya Vinaya Sampanni Brahmani Havikastini Shuni Chaiva Supakecha Panditaha. Can anyone complete that? Panditaha. Yes, Mataji. Samadarshinaha. Okay, there are Samadarshis. Okay, this is a devotee. Devotees of the Lord is merciful to everyone. Cat's dog. He treats all living entities in such a way that he can ultimately get salvation from this material entanglement. Sivananda Sena, this is one of the dog of Sivananda Sena. It is also got salvation because it has got a association with the sadhu. Again, this is later on. Brahma also says, Teva vidanti aditarantya devamayam yadadbhuta krama parayana sena sikshaha tiryak janapi ki musata dharanaye tiryak janapi. Even the animal beings also yadadbhuta parayana sela sikshaha. If they are trained or are giving association of a sadhu, then they will also be liberated. Tiryak janapi ki musata dharanaye, just by hearing Krishna Katha, association of the sadhus. Okay, there are so many instances. Again, Narada Muni come across so many people. They all became sadhus later on. So, because sadhu engages in the highest philanthropic activities for the benediction of all living entities, yet although sadhu is not inimical towards anyone, the world is so ungrateful that even sadhu has many enemies. Okay, this is the nature of this material world. Everyone thinks that he is enemy, but he never thinks that they are his enemies. He is ajata satravaha. Okay, and then further, what is the difference between enemy and friend? It is a difference in the behavior. So, amanitvam, adambhitvam, ahimsa, kshantirajhavam, acharyopasanam, saucham, stairyam, atma, vinigraha. These are, again, Krishna says in the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So, those 5 shlokas. This is called this is all called knowledge. Everything else is outside of this one is called ajnanam. Ajnanam yadatvanyata. Okay, that is the knowledge. And then what a sadhu behaves with all conditioned souls for their ultimate relief from material entanglement. Therefore, no one can be more friendly than a sadhu in relieving a conditioned soul. And this is the main purpose of a sadhu. See, this is Sangha dosha harahite. When we associate with the sadhu, Sangha doshas will be completely cleared out. A sadhu is calm and he is quiet and peacefully follows principles of the scripture. Okay, and this is Swadhyabhyasanam Chaiva. This is Vangmayam Tapauchyate. Krishna says again in the Bhagavad Gita, Anudvekaram Vakyam Satyam Priyahitam Chayat Swadhyabhyasaha Chainam. Vangmayam Tapauchyate. This is Vangmayam, austerity of the speech. A sadhu means one who follows the principles of the scripture and at the same time he is the devotee of the Lord. And one who actually follows the principles of the scripture must be devotee of the God, because all shastras instruct us to obey the orders of the personality of Godhead. Obey the personality of God. So all shastras instruct us to obey. That is the important thing, obey. That is obey. So again, if we do not obey, what happens? Every material endeavor, there is a failure. So again, Lord Brahma, he also makes there is in the 3rd Canto 9th chapter in the Brahma's prayers, he says that one loko vikarmanita. What is that shloka? Karmanyam yad. He says that one, my dear Lord, if you people of this loko vikarmanita. Let me just bring that shloka. It is just not coming. Okay. He says that one, if you do not follow those instructions of the Lord, then every endeavor will be complete failure. Loko vikarma nirtaha कुशले प्रमत्तः कर्मण्यें त्वद्विहिते भवदच्चने स्वे यस्तावदस्य बलवानिह जीविताशं सज्जः चिनत्य अनिमिषाय नमोऽस्तु तस्मै. People in general all engage in foolish acts, not in really beneficial activities enunciated directly by you for their guidance. As long as their tendency for foolish work remains powerful, all their plans in the struggle for existence will be cut to pieces. I therefore offer my obeisances unto him who acts as eternal time. Mrityu sarvasya aham. So Lord Krishna says, Kalosmi, I am the time. So by the time he will take everything from those materialistic people. Here he says really beneficial activities enunciated directly by you for their guidance. These are all instructions from the Bhagavad Gita. Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord says so many points, so many instructions. Okay, this is again here. Yes, one who follows the principles of scripture must be devotee of God, because all shastras instruct us to obey the orders of the personality of Godhead. And what he says, one has to manmanabha madbhakto. Can anyone say that shloka? Manmanabha madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mam evaisisi yuktaivam. Yes, Mataji. Anyone? Atmanam Matparayanaha. So become a my devotee. That is Lord's instruction. So therefore, sadhu means follower of the scriptural injunctions and a devotee of the Lord. All these characteristics are prominent in a devotee. Yasyasti bhakti bhagavaccha kinchana sarvaihi gunaihi tatra samasate suraha. They have got all qualities of the demigods in him. A devotee develops all good qualities of demigods, whereas a non-devotee, harava bhaktasya kuto mahgunaha. How come any good quality will be there in him? Manoratena dhavat, manorasena asati dhavato bahihi, asati dhavato. Asati is material things. That one is pulling his heart towards the materialistic things. How can any good qualities would exist in those people, materialistic people or non-devotees? Yeah, likewise, Srimad Bhagavatam says. So they have got no actual good qualifications or good characteristic according to the standard of transcendental realization. So this is all devotees. So you can see that in a practical behavior, day-to-day life, how devotee would act, how non-devotee would act. Okay, likewise here, it is a very big purport as well, and Kapila Bhagavan is describing Titikshavaha, Karunikaha, Suhridaha, Sarvadehinam, Ajata Satravaha, Santaha, Sadhavaha, Sadhu Bhoshanaha. Again, here there is one particular shloka where Dhruva Maharaj was going to the Vaikuntha planet in an aeroplane. At that time, so at that time he said, Maitreya Muni says that one, that Samadrushaha Suddhaha, what is that one? Shuddhaha Samadrushaha Shantaha Sarvabhotanuranjanaham Yanti Anjasa Achyuta Padam Achyuta Priya Bandhavaha. Whoever is with equal vision, compassionate, and Sarvabhutan Ranjanaha, pleasing to all other living entities. And Yanti Anjasa Achyuta Padam Achyuta Priya Bandhavaha. They will easily go back to the spiritual planet. Because Achyuta Priya Bandhavaha, they are very dear to the Lord. Yeah, Nirvairaha Sarvabhuteshu, yeah. Yes, Mam Yeti Pandava, Krishna says again in the Bhagavad Gita. Who is, I think, in the 11th chapter, the last shloka. So it says, who is non-envious to all other living entities, no enviousness. So he will come back to me. Nirvairaha sarvabhuteshu yatsa mam yeti pandava mam yeti. So this is how living entity, one should be always having these qualities. Sadhu bhoshnaha, ornaments of a sadhu here. First thing, titikshava, karnikaha, Suhridaha, Sarvadehinam, Ajata Satravaha, Shantaha, Sadhavaha, Sadhu Bhoshanaha. It's a very beautiful quality. One has to meditate again. Krishna says it in the Abhyam Sattva Samsiddhe Jnana Yoga Vyavastitihi. The first three shlokas of the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. There again he gives 26 qualities of a devotee as well. Okay, these are all ornaments of a sadhu. I stopped there, so I took so much of time here. I stop here. I request dear devotees, if you have got any questions or you want to share anything, kindly ask questions and kindly share. Kindly enlighten us. If there are any corrections or any mistakes, kindly do so. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Thank you for a lovely class. Thank you. So I'm a bit concerned about finding a sadhu for a start. And when somebody has got maybe born with the not so gifted position of having children, they are desperate. There's a story that's going around in Bhagavatam at the moment about Aditi, Aditi story.
Yes.
And so, you have that instinct as a woman. You're born in a society that demands that you follow the practice, the culture, and all sorts of expectations. But you must have children and often must have a son. And so if it doesn't happen, it's like a disease in a way, as you said. You disease. What happens? You just have to tolerate, because you have to find a sadhu, and you got to have the belief and the faith and all that to be connected with a sadhu and get the blessings of a sadhu, so you can actually be able to tolerate and maybe have a child. I don't know if the sadhu has that power. If you connect with them, would you be able to get a child? Because in the real world, I mean, I've experienced people thinking about a child or adopting a child, and they get their own children after that. And not only that, I think when you're childless, you do. I mean, it's a common practice. I know many people who take to dogs and cats. It's it's a substitute child,
Yeah.
So what would you say about those situations? We are in the material world.
Thank you, Mataji. So that is very good question. So yes, before we come to Krishna consciousness, we also been like that. Even there was no guidance by the parents and elders. Again, there is a process. The marriage ceremony is a Garbhadana samskara is a process. There are dasa samskaras, the 10 samskaras since the birth Garbhadana and the end of the funeral rites, that is the last one. In between, child is born, naming the child, and then growing up, namakarana, education. These are all samskaras. It gives it all these samskaras comes as part of the varnashrama dharma. People, these are all considered the human beings. Tato varna chatvaraha Tesham Brahman Uttamaha. That is starting from the Varnashrama. These are the people, human society. But one does not follow Varnashrama. They are all animal beings. Okay, they are cats and dogs. Yes, Mataji. And sometimes what happens, Kashyapa Prajapati, even though devotee, but Diti Mata approached in an inappropriate time with a desire of having a children, but inappropriate time. Even the husband gave so many instructions that, okay, this is not the right time. And then in this particular time, Lord Shiva is going on his bull with all of both the pisachas and everything, but still she did not take that words. So because of those ignorance, because of that deep desire to fulfill, because of that demonic children were born to Diti Mata. But here in this material world, everyone are automatically with materialistic desires. Everyone are with materialistic desires.
Sorry, Prabhu, I missed it all. I got cut off. I don't know if you realize. Yes, sorry.
Yes, Mataji.
So can you brief me? I'm sorry, I missed what you had to say.
in this, so here Diti Mata was approaching Kashmir Prajapati for the child in inappropriate time. So that was again later on she realizes that and then begs for the forgiveness from Lord Shiva and also from her husband. Later on she gets the benedictions from her husband that your grandchild is going to become a devotee of the Lord. But there is a what happens when we engage in ignorance, and then what happens when we realize that we have made a mistake, surrendering ourselves. Then again auspiciousness comes.
So what about the person, if you're living in ignorance and you haven't got the opportunity to be different?
Yes.
Are
So
they condemned? I don't understand.
even though at that moment it is condemned, later on he became a devotee in his family. Later on, so the devotees would take birth. Likewise, Kashi Prajapati assures Diti Maharani. Savai Mahabhagavato Mahatma Mahanubhavo Mahatam Mahishtaham. So like a devotee would take a birth in that family because you are realized. Even though your sons are not devotees yet, but your grandson is going to become Mahabhagavata. But there is always an option for the liberation and to elevate spiritually ourselves.
Yeah, I know a devotee presently that pour all her love with this pet that it doesn't even belong to her, but she more or less owns it and she treats it like a child. Yeah.
Yes.
And she's a good devotee. But because she didn't have children, she took to the animal. And had a neighbor who had just so many animals. She tried to adopt and she couldn't for ages and ages. And when she was about to adopt, she had a mental episode and she couldn't. So, there are so many I know who couldn't have children and they more or less substitute an animal for the child.
Yes, Mataji. So that is again, when we don't have devotees association, they will need to make something else.
Well, yeah, because they want to love and be loved, I suppose, and they try anything.
Yes, Mataji.
I don't see that as a disease or a sinful thing, really, but the dogs, anybody's having dogs now. Almost any people in different level in society are having animals. I mean, Mahaprabhu had, a dog following him. Krishna, I believe, had a dog. Somebody said recently.
Yeah, that's Sivananda said, no? So that the devotee, along with the devotees, one dog was accompanying, it got liberated.
Yeah. So, isn't that a good example for us to follow? I don't know. It's very confusing.
Yes, Mataji. So that is just a devotees association. Devotees, they chant, follow rules and regulations. And that's why Tulayamalevena Pinaswargamna Punarbhavam Bhagavasangi Sangasya Machanam Kimutashaha. Okay, so the moment of devotees association is so valuable.
So how do you identify a sadhu in our community? Are there sadhus amongst us?
The first thing is he does not associate with materialistic people.
Mm.
So this is Asasangatjagi. That is the first qualification. Second is association with the devotee. Reading the scriptures. When he speaks, Anudvekaram Vakyam Satyam Priyahitam Chayat. So he speaks always truthful and pleasing to everyone. These are qualities of sadhus. So this is Titikshavaha, Karunikaha. These are Sadhu, Sadhavaha, Sadhu Bhoshanaha, ornaments of the Sadhu.
Thank you. So, would we, as we associate with the sadhu, it's not automatic, is it? You have to surrender and do
Yes.
the usual thing like you do with your guru. Yes, thank you.
Thank you,
I,
Mataji. So
I
this
hope
is,
I haven't taken up too much time for the other
no,
people.
Mataji. This is again coming in association with a sadhu. It takes so many lifetimes as well. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavanam prapadyate. Takes so many lifetimes to come in contact with a sadhu as well. It is not that is by accident, by Krata Punya Punjaha. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you.
Any other things? We are half past. Jai Mataji.
No, Prabhuji. I was just going to say, I think all the leads have left. So I just was going to say thank you to you very much for the wonderful class. If no one has any questions, then can we all say Hari Bol to Prabhuji, please? 3 Hari Bols. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari
Hari
Bol.
Bol. Hari Bol.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Prabhuji.
Okay. Shall we conclude our session for tonight?
Yes, please. Panchakalpatarubhyascha Sindhuve Patita Pavanebhyo Vaishnavejo Namo Namah Anantakoti Vaishnavinda ki jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. Hare Krishna consciousness, everyone.
Hari
Thank
Krishna.
you.
Krishna, thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.